Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about she stopped chasing her avoidant fiance and he came back 2 months later. We got a success story today. This is someone that shared their story with us and they asked us to make a video on it for you guys because she was going through an incredibly painful breakup with her avoidant ex. And, you know, obviously when you're going through that, you don't know if it's ever going to turn around. So we're going to get into this one. I think you're going to see a lot of the anxious avoidant patterns that cause a lot of breakups.
All right, let's hear it.
They said, "Hi, Coach Craig and Coach Victoria. I wanted to send you my success story because during my breakup, your videos became a part of my everyday life. I watch them every morning before work, on my lunch breaks, and before I went to sleep. There were so many nights where I genuinely thought my life was over, and hearing your explanations of breakups gave me enough hope to get through another day. I promised myself that if things ever worked out, I'd come back and share my story because I know how desperately I searched for success stories when I was going through the middle of it." And we love success stories. If you have one, please email us on the website. You have no idea how many exes get their ex back and don't tell us.
Oh my gosh.
The longer I do this, the more I hear about it, and I'm like shocked how often it happens. It happens way more than we know about because you guys don't tell us. So email us, leave a comment on YouTube, please. People want to know. You're going through it. You know how nice it is to hear someone else get their ex back.
And I'll say there's all different kinds of success stories too. There
That's
are
true.
many success stories in which people don't get their ex back, but they do find a partner that is really aligned with them and that they feel very fulfilled and happy with. So I want to put that out there that
Definitely.
not every success story is the same.
For sure. But it's been very surprising how many people are actually getting their ex back and don't tell us.
Yeah.
And then they were like, wait, you got back with them? It just happened to me 2 times in the last week. Like somebody that is getting another coaching with me, they got back with the ex. And I'm like, wait, what? I didn't even know you got back together.
Yeah.
And in fact, twice yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why it's fresh on my mind. All right. My ex-fiance and I had been together for almost 4 years before we broke up. We got together young, moved in together after about a year, lived together for 3 years, got engaged, and were planning our wedding. We truly believed we'd spend the rest of our lives together. Looking back, I can clearly see what caused the breakup. I have an anxious attachment style, although I had no idea at the time. I slowly made my entire life revolve around him. We were together almost every day, and in the 3 years we lived together, we probably only spent a handful of nights apart. If he wanted time to himself, wanted to game or spend time with his friends, I'd take it personally and try to pull him closer. So that's a big problem. Believe it or not giving your partner that independence to do those things sometimes, go out with a friend, play video games, whatever, and then pulling them closer, it just makes them want to push you away more.
And I think that question is really important when it comes to couples, is each individual being able to ask, who am I without you? What is my personality? What is my aura? Who am I as an individual? This is so important for a relationship and so important for attraction and keeping that connection really interesting. If your partner does go out with friends, has a great time, comes back home, has a lot to tell you, and they can tell you from their lens, and they kind of go and explore and they come back to their safe base, which is home, to share with you. So we understand that it can be hard when you have more of an anxious attachment style and you're getting the sense of abandonment every time your partner does anything. It is super helpful for the connection for them to come back excited about whatever else is going on in life.
And this is why the anxious people out there need to really look at their behavior too. They're always pointing at the avoidance.
Oh, yeah.
You guys have gotten really rough on the avoidance, but you're not looking at the equation of how your anxious behavior pushes the avoidant away. Okay? If you don't take accountability and really look at yourself, you're only going to put all the problems on the other person. But it's a dynamic. That's the thing that we're trying to teach you guys, is that it's about both people.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. He leans more avoidant and needs space to recharge. So every weekend we'd end up arguing because he wanted breathing room while I wanted more closeness. Exactly what we're saying. Mm-hmm. Neither of us understood the anxious and avoidant dynamic, and eventually he told me he'd completely lost himself and didn't know who he was anymore. At the time, I was devastated because I genuinely had no idea he'd been feeling that way. This is normal. Mm-hmm. She wanted closeness. He needed some space for himself. The more he pulled away, the more anxious she became. The more the anxious she became, the more trapped he felt. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So she wasn't trying to hurt the relationship when she did this. She was just trying to calm her anxiety, her fears. And that's why we're telling you have to learn to soothe yourself. Okay? That's why we're telling you got to do the work as well. It's not just on the avoidant partner that caused it. Mm-hmm. The breakup was honestly the worst experience of my life. It wasn't toxic, but emotionally, it was absolutely devastating. It felt like my entire future disappeared overnight. One minute, I was planning a wedding, and the next, I was trying to figure out how to separate our lives, our home, our pets, and everything we built together. I've never felt pain like it. I felt completely alone and genuinely believed nothing was ever going to get better. I remember searching YouTube constantly because I just wanted someone to tell me I wasn't crazy for feeling the way that I did. What made it even harder was how cold he became. It honestly felt like he had become a completely different person overnight. This is textbook of what we see all the time, right? Mm-hmm. He told me there was absolutely no chance we'd ever repair the relationship, that he wanted to go separate ways, and even told me to get a hint.
Oh, dang. Sassy.
Yeah. So, we have a really cold avoidant ex here, and she's going to be absolutely convinced. Mm-hmm. Or she was. She said it, that it would never turn around. The first week after the breakup was complete no contact. After that, we had some limited contact before eventually going back into another period of complete no contact. Every instinct I had wanted to text him, explain myself, apologize, and convince him we could make it work. Instead, I kept watching your videos and started learning about attachment styles. For the first time, I realized that my anxiety had been driving so much of my behavior. I wasn't fighting for the relationship. I was fighting my fear of losing it. That's a really good point she just made there.
Mm-hmm. And this is reminding me of a situation I had where a client of mine was talking about their mother, and the parents were divorced, and the mother would always complain that she was not spending as much time as the mom wanted with her. Mm-hmm. But then the client would tell me, man, every time I spend time with my mom, she's just upset and angry. And so she wants to spend more time with me, but every time I spend time with her, it's not enjoyable. And so this can be the dilemma of being more anxious, is even when your partner is there, sometimes it can be hard to soothe because you're still feeling the pain from the abandonment, or the feelings of abandonment coming back up. And I put that in quotes because our trauma can kind of distort things, right? Him going out to spend some time with friends once every blue moon, that's not real abandonment if he comes back home, right? And if he's communicative and all of those things. So sometimes that the wound and the pain from that wound can kind of seep over into the time together and then just kind of make things so much heavier and so much more difficult. So I could see at this point she's realizing, okay, I've done a lot, but if I go into reaching out to him just to kind of throw this pity party and apologize and explain and try to rehash this and beat the dead horse is like a ghost. You're like beating the ghost of the dead horse. He's like in the fifth realm or something crazy. He's like transcended so many realms of how much you've beat this dead horse.
Yeah.
So at this point I can see she's saying, okay, let me not. I really want to, but I'm not. I'm going to do something different. And that is what's sensed for her partner, I imagine. Yeah. I imagine he's like, whoa, this is not what I expected. This is totally different from how I thought this would go down. I thought she was going to freak out, and she's not. What's going on? So
we got a little bit more here. Let's see what happens. What do you guys think happened here? Around 6 weeks after the breakup, I went to his house simply to drop off our TV. I expected to be there for 5 minutes, but instead, he completely broke down crying. He told me the distractions weren't working anymore. He said he missed me all the time, loved me so much, and thought about me every single day. I couldn't believe what I was hearing because only weeks earlier, he'd been telling me there was never any chance for us. This is what we see all the time. This is why we tell you guys what to do. And she didn't even do a coaching with us. She was just following the instructions of the videos, and it got her to turn around. Even after that conversation, he still wasn't ready to get back together because he was scared we'd fall straight back into the same unhealthy patterns. And he was smart to think it. He was smart to think that because it takes a lot of work to break the pattern. Looking back, I'm actually grateful for that because it forced me to keep working on myself instead of rushing back into the relationship before anything had changed. Over the next couple of weeks, he started reaching out more. He'd ask me to spend time together, then sometimes pull away again because he was scared. During the breakup, I would have panicked every time he pulled away. This time, I understood what was happening and gave him the space he needed. One of the biggest moments came around week 8. He admitted that everything he had said during the breakup about there never being a chance, wanting to go our separate ways, and telling me to get a hint wasn't truly how he felt at all.
Interesting.
He told me it had all been a defense mechanism because he couldn't let himself get emotionally close to me while he was hurting. It's very rare for an avoidant to say it like that.
Oh, yeah, and to be that self-aware. Yeah.
Craig, I immediately thought of your videos because you'd explain that exact behavior so many times. I remember watching those videos thinking, there's no way that's my ex. He sounds too certain. It turned out you were describing him perfectly. During the breakup, I stopped focusing on getting him back and started focusing on becoming healthier. I learned to manage my anxious attachment instead of expecting him to calm my fears. I rebuilt my own identity, spent time with friends again, focused on photography, and learned that giving him someone space isn't the same as losing them. Ironically, yeah, it is. I'll say that again. That giving someone space isn't the same as losing them. Ironically, once I stopped chasing him, he naturally became much more emotionally available. Recently, he asked me to become his girlfriend again, and our relationship feels healthier than it's ever been before. We communicate openly. He feels comfortable asking for space when he needs, and I no longer see that as rejection. We both understand each other so much better than we ever did before. But it really did take some effort to understand my attachment style before doing so. If someone listening to this is where I was at a few months ago, crying every day, unable to eat or sleep, convinced that the horrible things their ex said must be true, I hope my story gives them a little bit of hope. Not hope that their ex comes back, because that's not true, but hope that people sometimes say things during a breakup that's coming from a fear rather than how they really feel. More importantly, I hope it reminds them that no matter what happens, working on yourself is never wasted. Thank you for everything you do, Craig. Your videos didn't just help me rebuild my relationship, they changed my life. And I'll always be grateful for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a great success story.
Well, I'm very proud of her.
She did a great job.
It sounds like she's worked through a lot of anxiety. She's been able to find the things that really do comfort her, and she's able to self-soothe, which is huge. I think really that's a life skill.
I wish this for all of you guys, that not necessarily you get back with your ex because some of you were in situations where it's not healthy or good for you. But what she did here is so much of what we've been trying to share with you on the channel for, pretty much a decade now, where you educate yourself on this, and it really changes your life. It changes who you are, how you handle things, and your understanding of partners and what they need and what relationships need.
Oh, yeah. And it's huge. You know, I can see this impacting the rest of her life, regardless of what happens in this particular relationship. Anxiety management as a concept can spill into other areas of your life. And I'm curious to hear how all of this has been affecting those other areas. I'm happy to see that things have worked out for her in this relationship.
Yeah.
And we know that no relationship is perfect. We know that a success story and getting back with your ex doesn't mean that, you know, everything is hunky-dory. Is that the phrase? Hunky-dory?
Yeah, hunky-dory. Things are good.
Yes, things are good. It doesn't always mean that, because there's still always work, but she's gotten to the point where she's realizing, okay, me investing in myself in this way, trying different things, choosing healthier paths and making better decisions for myself, it's working out. So she's seeing this as like a continual process of life. So that makes me really excited for her. And I'm glad that she's gone from a place of being super devastated, probably shocked by that breakup, given how stable it seemed their life was, to now regaining a sense of confidence in herself and entering this relationship with a completely different lens. So go her.
Yeah, I'm so happy for
Yeah.
her. This is such a great success story. And it kind of shows so many of the things that we're constantly telling you over and over again. And she was able to articulate that beautifully so you guys could see it. So thank you for sharing. And we love success stories. So you can always email us on the website, and we share them when we can. We get so many, but we always have so many different topics and ideas that we want to put out there. But feel free to email us. And of course, if you'd like to get our help personally, you could do that on our website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. And Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.